Can you get a decent quality functioning tripod for only $50? Or should you just save up and get something a little bit more expensive? That's what we're gonna find out in today's video. Let's check it out. Alright, so basically I needed an extra tripod for an upcoming video shoot, but I didn't need anything special, and so I pretty much looked on Amazon for the absolute cheapest tripod that looks somewhat usable. Now, there are technically a bunch of tripods that are like $10 or $15. A couple years ago, I actually tested the cheapest tripod I could find. It was $8.50. I'm gonna link that video down in the description if you wanna check it out, but it was just terrible, like completely unusable. However, I came across this tripod right here. And so this is a K&F Concept tripod that I picked up for $50. And it's actually made out of metal. It has an Arca Swiss quick release plate, a ball head, and some other stuff, which we're gonna find out right now. All right, let's just get this thing out and check it out. So that's everything in the box here, but it comes in its own soft carrying case. And just look how small this is. It says it goes up to 64 inches, I believe, which is a pretty decent size, but it's in this tiny little carrying case. So that's kind of cool to see already. It definitely smells kind of weird. I don't know how to explain it, but it has just a really, really weird smell to it. All right, so there's the tripod itself. Right here is, looks like a phone clip. So it's cool to see they include that as well. And then just some silica gel, and I don't know what that is. This wasn't open box or refurbished or used or anything. Maybe they fell out of the silica gel packs. I don't know how well you can see that, but there's like dirt and dust in this. I'll try to get a picture of it afterwards. I'm just gonna assume that is just mine. That's really weird. All right, either way, let's get this phone clip out. Yeah, that's kind of what I expected. A really cheap plastic phone clip, but let's check out the actual tripod now. So first of all, the fact that it folds up this small is pretty awesome. It has the ball head on it as well. I really do like how it folds into this small of a package for, you know, a tripod that gets up to 64 inches tall. Now the leg columns are made out of aluminum, but the clips and the rest of the pieces here are definitely made out of a pretty cheap quality plastic. So let's go ahead and unfold this, and it looks like there's 3 different angle adjustments for these legs. There's that right there, and there's angle number 2, and then it goes even further to lay, looks like almost completely flat. There's maybe 2 or 3 inches below this until you hit the ground. Now, when I put some weight on this, it definitely flexes a little bit, but this feels solid. Again, compared to like the $10 or $15 tripods that you can get, this is definitely better quality. I would definitely trust this a lot more with, you know, a mirrorless camera or DSLR or something like that. I'm not a huge fan of seeing plastic on, you know, these important pieces that lock this thing down. The plastic pieces feel very, very low quality. Okay, actually it looks like there's 2 center columns on this. So here's the main one right here. Let's tighten that down. This is fully extended. But there's also this right here. I thought this was for leveling the ball head, but if I loosen this up, look at that, that's pretty cool. And then of course the legs have 3 different columns that extend as well. So that's why this thing can get so huge from being packed down to a tiny little tripod when it's in its carrying case. Again, I love tripods that can just pack down to being a tiny little package for traveling. Here's the thing, the ball head is fully made out of plastic as well, besides the actual, you know, that orange ball in the middle there, that's metal of course. But the rest of it, the outside, the tightening portions and everything, even this plate right here, this is all made out of plastic, pretty cheap feeling plastic again. So if anything, this is the part I would trust the least. It really does feel kind of rickety, and having a plastic quick release plate and locking system, I don't know, I'm just not the biggest fan of that. Again, for a $50 tripod, you could invest maybe $30 or $40 and get a really high quality metal ball head for this. But let's test it out real quick. So this is my Sony ZV-E10 II. So this definitely isn't a very extreme or very heavy setup, but this is probably gonna be a pretty common type of, you know, size camera that somebody's gonna use with this. So let's go ahead and lock that in. I tighten this pretty good and it feels good. It doesn't feel like it's gonna strip or break or snap or anything like that. And then let's see the ball head, let's tighten that down. You know what, that doesn't really feel as bad as I thought. The ball head itself is pretty strong. Let's tighten it a little more. I can definitely move it if I try, but obviously nobody's gonna be really doing this with it. For just normal use, that feels pretty solid. I wouldn't really complain if I was just using this completely normally, maybe being a little bit careful knowing it's a $50 tripod. I'm pretty surprised at this whole thing so far. All right, let's see how smooth the left and right panning is. Yeah, that's really not bad at all. All right, so I'm just gonna extend this all the way and just see what it feels like fully extended. Now also the last section on these legs is very, very thin. So the more you extend this out, the cheaper, more flimsy it feels. All right, so this is fully extended, all the legs, the center column all the way up. Now I'm about 5'11" and it's about eye level to me. Any little touch shakes this thing around, wobbles it around. It is really flimsy when it's fully extended, but if you were to not touch this at all, I would trust it with the weight of a camera. I just wouldn't trust, you know, something hitting this and knocking it around and shaking everything up. All right, right here I have the $50 K&F Concept tripod, all folded up as small as it can go. Then right here I have my go-to, pretty much my favorite tripod, the iFootage TC5S travel tripod. And this is also folded up as small as it can go. And you can see this tripod is quite a bit smaller, all folded up. And it's also a little bit lighter, but I'm kind of surprised at how close the weights are between these with, you know, how much bigger and just thicker and heavier duty this iFootage one is. But this is also a $350 tripod versus the $50 tripod. Legitimately 7 times more expensive for this. You could buy 7 of these tripods versus 1 of these. Then right here I have my iPhone 14 on the phone mount that came with this. And there we go, it locks in, you can move it around, and it's, you know, somewhat stable-ish as long as you don't bump it around too much. It'll definitely get the job done if you do any sort of iPhone or smartphone video or photos. But just wait, because we'll be testing slightly heavier cameras on this. But first of all, let's get the iFootage one set up. I mean, it's no surprise that you can tell this is built a lot better for 7 times the price. Now, I forgot to mention, I have this newer ball head on this iFootage tripod. Something like this is what I would recommend picking up for this tripod if you have a budget for it. I think this was $30-something. I'll link it down in the description if you want to check it out. It'll definitely improve your usability of this and make it just feel a little bit better. Then if we throw on this DSLR, this will definitely get the job done for you. I've been using it for over a month at this point. I've actually gotten a lot more use than I ever thought I would out of this, just because of how decent it actually is for, like I said, just simple basic tripod things. But now it's time for a real test. So this is about a 20-pound ARRI Alexa setup right here. All right, it's pretty back heavy how I have this set up right now, but it actually is attached to that plastic Arca Swiss plate that came with this tripod. And you can see that's the main part that's kind of flexing with this. The tripod's rock solid, but that plastic tripod plate is really flexing with all this weight on it. All right, now it's time to put it on this thing. Let's get this D7100 off real quick. All right, let's see if this thing can hold it. Over 20-pound ARRI Alexa. All right, there we go. It didn't want to, but I had to kind of lean it forward to get that center of gravity a little better. Any little movement I do, this thing's shaking around. That's really one of the biggest downsides to this, is just the stability, the durability of it. But after over a month of using this, like I said, a lot more than I thought I would, I gotta say, this thing is definitely worth the $50 price point. As long as you fully understand its limits and don't push it too hard, this is a great beginner option for your first tripod, or just for a budget extra tripod if you need one. Probably about the cheapest decent tripod you can get. Now, you can always get something better. There's always gonna be better tripods at higher price points, whether it's $100, $150, $200, $300. I mean, there's $20,000 tripods out there. So can you get a better value for the money? Probably, if you want to spend more. But if you have an extremely low budget and want to get something that will get the job done for you as long as you don't do too much moving around or beat it up too much, I would not expect this to last forever, and I wouldn't expect it to be amazing. But I really think for the price point, you're getting a pretty great value for this tripod.